Okay, we are now in the Lost River. I stopped by research base Dante. That's what it was. Up here in the mountains. And so I'm approaching now the Lost River from one of the northern entrances, which is one that a lot of players don't really use, I think. This one specifically is the one in the bulb zone because I was coming back from Dante, which this would be the nearest one. So the plan is right now to go ahead and get to the primary alien containment facility. I should have all the tablets that I need to get access in there. So we're gonna head in there, and then we're gonna go basically beat the story. Hello, fake ghost. I'm glad you're here. River Prowler, go away. I'm busy. Okay, so the plan is to get into the Sea Emperor's chamber and get the hatching enzymes done. I do have a very tiny base over at the quarantine enforcement platform. So my plan is to get over to there. And then I can make my way back home through the use of teleporters. I have water, so I don't have to worry about that. Food, we'll be fine. Plus, you know what I'll be able to do here now? Mine ion crystals and make a bunch of ion power for the Cyclops. That's honestly the #1 reason why I'm here. Look at them, they're so cute. But you know, now that we've opened this place up, does that mean infection spreads in here? That would be really cool. Because this has been, you know, quarantined. Everything here is peaceful because of all the enzymes she's releasing, but it's not concentrated like the young. So if I open this up, does the red plague take over? That would be interesting. Okay, let's see if this cures me.
Danger. Severe chemical burns detected.
It doesn't.
This substance is incompatible with your biology and potentially fatal to any life forms afflicted by the plague.
Interesting. Incompatible with your biology. What an interesting thing. But lethal to things carrying the plague. So now it's time to make ion power cells, and when that's done, then we'll go out into the void and follow these darn things. All right, guys, it is time. It is time to, oh boy, go to the void, apparently. So I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know what I'm going to want. Part of me wants to bring the prawn suit because the prawn suit can use the drill and everything. But also, if something happens out there, the prawn suit sinks. There is no way I make it out of the void with my prawn suit. So I think the only logical explanation here is to just go ahead and take the sea moth in the Cyclops instead. There's no way like I would really survive in this thing, but it's the only option that actually makes sense because the prawn suit can't make it anywhere where there's no land. So yeah, I'm not feeling good about this, but whatever, we can do it. So I've only got 3 out of 5 decoys. I sure hope I don't need more than that. And I have all my ion power cells ready to run shields at full power for as long as necessary. Well, not as long as necessary, but for a very long time.
Engine powering up.
Now, if this is correct, we should have some friends here. What the heck's happening? Are these actually attached to the Cyclops? Hold on. They're spinning. Can I hit the wall with them? Oh, they went into the wall. Well, I don't like that. Interesting. So he doesn't treat the Cyclops as a, he doesn't treat it as a valid vehicle?
Scans show an unidentified creature. Your mission requires you to follow it.
I'm trying, game. You mean to tell me that they really want me to go out in the sea moth? I'm with you, buddy. We're right here. I swear, if they will not accept the Cyclops, then literally the only option is to take the sea moth, which will get attacked. Oh boy. It's like the path he's taking me is kinda safe because we don't run into many Reapers. I ran into the one the last time I did this. But then we go into the void where there is no safety. We're not in the void yet, I don't think. We're in the Cragfield, I think. Maybe not. Hi, Ghost Leviathan. That did so much damage. I want to know what I'm supposed to do. Don't. I'm following you, guy. Against my better judgment, I'm doing this. Please take us back to land. We get into safety, then we don't get into safety. Where are we going? Need a moment, guy. Where are we going? You just thought we'd just casually venture out into the void? This is some Ocarina of Time desert follow thing. Okay. Where did he go? Don't touch me. Where did he go? Believe me, guy, I would love to follow you, but I don't know where you went. I guess I'm just going back, and he'll have me follow him when he feels like it, I guess. Somehow I'm not taking damage. My fault for looking at the thing that you sent me to. I thought you just left me. Don't stop, buddy. Don't you dare stop on me. Ah, my God. Where'd he go? 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 No! This is what I'm talking about. No! Where did he go? No! That's not my fault! Come on, let's go. Where are we going? I'm following you. We are in the dangerous waters. We're doing the thing. Let's do the thing. Oh my God. Let me guess. I lost the darn thing. Alright everyone, so after my last 3 failed attempts at following the plague cats, which, by the way, I just want to make clear the reason why I'm following them is because it tells you to. If you go into the fauna and you go into plague creations and you come down to plague cat observer, it will tell you that it meows, is trying to get your attention. The game is telling me that there's a creature outside that wants me to follow it. It's inaudible to or ignored by most other plague creations. The teeth don't do anything. It's harmless. Plague cats attempt to stay just out of the reach of their current interest, generally swimming away when it gets too close. The vast majority of the nervous system is composed of tissues, blah, 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 blah. Harmless with an unclear connection to the hive mind, more research is required. So it's telling me basically that, yeah, it says they produce a high-pitched whine when observing something of interest, possibly to attract more plague cats to strengthen the group. Interestingly, this whine is, yeah, already mentioned that part. So, like, it's telling me that these whines that I'm hearing from these plague cats are something that they do to try to get your attention and that they want you to come with. Well, here's the main issue. That's great and all, but, like, I don't know.
Has something to show you. Please obtain more information.
Right there. So what does this mean? You know, they're taking me out into the void, and then they disappear the moment I don't lock eyes with them. And so I looked up some information. I actually had a big ol' angry rant. I was very upset with the game and needed to take a break. So the nearby life form that I apparently need to follow is not the plague cat. I'm just gonna adjust my mic some more because I noticed I was peaking in the last one, or at least a little bit. So yeah, you do not follow the plague cat, apparently, despite it whining and meowing and all this stuff to get my attention. Apparently you do not follow that. I don't know why or how or what the deal is. I just saw the thing that I was supposed to follow. And I'm only basing this off of some video I saw on YouTube from another guy. What was his channel? I want to give credit to the channel Z1 Gaming, which he has an episode in which he sees this thing and he tries to follow it. Now, I don't know what this is. It says anomalous life form, and I've never been able to scan it completely. It gets away from me every time, but that is apparently something that I can follow. That is the thing that I'm supposed to follow. I don't know if that's true or not true, but I'm gonna follow it. I really want to scan it though. But it is definitely faster than me, similar to the plague cats. So this is the thing that I'm supposed to follow. At least that's what he followed in his video, and I can't get close enough to this thing. It is basically faster than me. Get in front of you. Scan, 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 scan. Okay. Plague Anomaly 002. Specimen resembles mutated turtle-like creature and usually does not appear similar to any other known species on the planet. Yes, I've noticed that too. Creature exhibits unique, inquisitive social behavior with telepathic-like ability to beckon other species at particular locations. This would be great if I saw this first. Avoid skin-to-skin contact. Suspect, investigate and follow, but stay cautious. Would like to be pet, but to do so is at your own liability. So this thing has the telepathic communication, and it's been telling me to follow it, not the plague cats, which keep following me and keep meowing at me and have confused me this whole time. So perhaps those are a mechanic in which you are supposed to be, you know, basically bamboozled into following them, because they showed up at about the same time as this. And I did see this before, but it's so small, I never saw it again. So we're gonna follow this thing, and we're gonna see what happens. But I will say, this is a negative mark on this mod to me, something that I do not enjoy, because how was I supposed to know? This thing runs away when you swim near it. It's small, and you give me 3 other things that scream at me constantly to get my attention, of which I can't get rid of. I cut it out in my footage, but I did even see one die, and it just respawns. So it's not like you can just get rid of them. It got stuck in a cave with some of the stingers, the drooping stingers, and it ended up dying. Now, I am a tiny bit spoiled, not incredibly spoiled, but I do know where this thing takes me, apparently, is in the dunes. Or at least that's what I gathered from the little bit of the video I watched where he was following this, and then he stumbled across a base, a rather large base. So, that is what I'm expecting to see, and I'm seeing the water change color. We're in the plateau right now, but we are heading in the general direction of the dunes. Looks like eclipse is happening.
Warning, detecting high concentrations of infectious material in this biome. Exploration without proper equipment is highly discouraged.
Either that or this biome is now like dark. My sanity's dropping
Detecting
fast.
multiple Leviathan class life forms in the region. Are you certain Whatever you're doing is worth it.
Where are you taking me, guy? We're now out of that, okay. So, I did get a little spoiler too. The Dunes has apparently been reworked, where it is now this dangerous biome in which you are supposed to have the plague armor that I found in the Lost River to explore. Problem is that I can't make the plague armor. I don't have whatever I need to make it. And spoiler for that, I do believe the thing that I am missing is called a plague altar. Based off of what I've seen in the research I did, because I was tired of not knowing what the heck was going on. So
structure readings I'm picking up, they're insane. No wonder we lost track of his signal. I fear you're going to have to go inside to uncover whatever happened. Don't get lost.
Welcome aboard, Captain. This machine does not follow any established technological standards and was likely responsible for the destruction of this facility. Handle with caution. All primary mission goals completed.
Congratulations. That's everything. Now for what we've all been waiting for. Fred has everything planned out, so I'll let him tell you more about it.
Are we certain we should? I can't really promise this is a good idea. Yeah, so we located an entrance to the cave. It's blocked by a massive wall of flesh, so you'll need to get it open with that grapple gun of yours. I'll update you as soon as you get there.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
That's quite a discovery made down there. An altar dedicated to worshiping the plane. It's so fascinating. Fred, how's the analysis going?
I don't understand the blueprint data. It's completely filled with unreadable code, redundancies, and confusing algorithms. And yet, if I plug it into a PDA, it works perfectly. This shouldn't exist. I don't understand why or how.
Well, I don't quite understand it either, but I think it'd be fun to mess around with it. Wouldn't it?
okay. That was interesting, but I couldn't talk during it because the music was too loud, and there's no way to turn down the music. We found out from a different episode, so yeah, I just had to sit there and suffer to the really loud music for a minute. But it was interesting. So they built an altar to worship the plague, which is cool. And now I have the blueprints to I guess study the plague, or to like build the altar or something. I don't really know. But the only not cool thing about that base, well, kind of two things. One, I really feel like if this plague altar is the thing that lets me build the protection suit, that's backwards. That shouldn't be a thing. It's not fun to go into an area that you don't have the stuff for. Yeah, here's plague altar. So that can be made over here, I guess. And I can just make that. And this is the thing that I apparently make everything else with. Yeah, this makes conscious neural matter. This makes Gilbert. This makes all of the stuff I've been meaning to make. And it even makes the ball of meat times 3. So this is literally the thing I've been looking for the entire game, is this plague altar, which somehow makes everything that I want it to make. So this is, in my opinion, backwards. At least when you try to compare this to Subnautica, for example. While I'm talking, I'm gonna try to fix my issue with I lost my sea moth. I had to spawn in a new sea moth because the game unfortunately locked my other sea moth behind the base and I couldn't get it unstuck. There was nothing I could do. So this one is my sea moth, of which I don't know. I don't even want to see this one in my list, but I mean I can't do anything about it, so it's just gonna be there. Which means I kind of have to do a weird... I'll move the vehicle console. That's just gonna be better to do. Okay, so while I figure all this out, I'll probably go into creative to spawn the things I want to spawn, because I don't want to look up the commands and I want to just talk. So let me put the vehicle console in the wall and then I'll talk about my opinions on stuff so far. There's the console. And real quick, we're gonna go into creative, and we gotta change this to Marshmallow 2, even though nothing happened with the first one. And it had depth upgrade, obviously, and then the perimeter defense, and 2 anti-possession. Unwanted energy disruption. Interesting. But I had 2 hull reinforcements, which is a lot of diamond that I definitely don't want to lose. Okay, so, my opinions on this, what I was gonna talk about before I rudely interrupted my own self. I don't like... I guess this just makes it out of thin air. Sorry, I'm trying to talk, but I didn't realize... I should have realized that you don't need the components for this. You can just do it. Oops, there. Okay, so... I don't like how backwards this whole trip has been. And I don't really get why they did it the way that they did it. So here's the thing. They give you all 4 objectives that you're supposed to do all at once. And they're like, just do this. Okay, well, the stolen inversion cannon, that was already given to us actually, so I guess they give us 3 out of the 4 all at once. But this was something we got from the Aurora. We went to the Aurora, we got it, and then they had us do more stuff and do everything else that we needed to do. Then they gave us increased resistance to the plague, research exploitable plague material, and find the remnants of Team 4 all at the same time with no indication of which one is more important than the others. Now, what I like about this is that it's open for you to explore and figure out what you're doing and, you know, discover things in any order that you want. The problem I have with this is that the only thing that lets you craft plague stuff is at one of those things. I got the mechanical refinery, which, doing some testing here, it just kind of converts things into random other things, sort of random. So this will give you like metals, I think. The alien feces gave me salt one time, it gave me lubricant another time. Blood oil gave me lubricant one time. It says gives oil-based residual products, so I'm assuming it's either going to be that or benzene or maybe polyaniline if you're lucky. And then Mysterious Remains gives you basically red plague stuff. So you get Mysterious Remains and you can then, you know, do this or do that and you get whatever you're looking for. I don't like that this plague altar is the thing that makes all of your stuff and that it's at one base location. They give you this administrator fabricator and they let you make the plague knife from this and the infection tablet. And I feel like you don't need to have both of these. The ham and cheese, that's kind of funny, but, or the regular, which is the ham and cheese, that's kind of funny, but that doesn't need to be its own thing in a separate fabricator. It can just go under food. It's fine to be under here. Now, if that doesn't work because of modding reasons, I don't really know why, then it could just be a separate section in here. In fact, it would be better if they had, instead of throwing the red plague stuff in here, which, again, leads me to believe you could just put the sandwich under sustenance, because that's where it belongs. I don't know why it wouldn't be in the food section. But anyway, I would make a separate thing in this fabricator and just get rid of this whole administrator fabricator thing. If you're gonna go with this plague altar being the thing that you want people to craft your plague things with, I think the altar fits the progression. And so what I mean by that is I think the altar makes sense when I found it, because it seems to be like the most messed up plague thing ever. If I had just gone into the Aurora and found a plague altar and that is what let me make all the tools that I needed to do the rest of this, it would be a bit weird. I think too many creature noises. I think that this altar, I don't know if this should be the thing that makes all the tools. I like the administrator fabricator, but it makes sense why the fabricator doesn't do what this does. So I don't know, progression wise, this feels like an end game thing that I should be working with, but they gave me blueprints for this in the very beginning of the game, and that just doesn't make sense with Subnautica. And I mean this in the most constructive way. I personally don't think that really works with this game, because when you play Subnautica, you get the modification station and you can see that you can make the Cyclops upgrades or the prawn suit or all of these other things, and you can see the materials that you need for them, but you get this station early on. So you get the stuff, you can make the thermoblade, you can make the ultra high capacity tank and the ultra glide fins and all these things. You can make all that, and then as you play the game, you start seeing like, oh, more things unlock. This modification station is basically the same thing as this, except I didn't get access to this until basically the end of the game. And I don't really like that. So I think what you would be better off with, honestly, and I'm not in love with the plague altar. I think it looks okay. The teeth are weird, and I don't like the way that it groans at me. I think what you would have been better off with is a plague modification station. So something that was like a modification station that was like overgrown or had lumps on it or something. This just looks really out of place, and I know it's the red plague and everything looks out of place, but like this looks extremely out of place in this game, to me anyway. So I don't really love the design, but you know, it's fine. I really don't like the progression. The other thing I can mention about this is that your clue for me to find the one thing in the game that lets me craft all the other things that I've had for a very long time is that there's a person talking to me that says follow them, and at the same time I've done that, the plague cats show up and tell me to follow them, which I'm apparently not supposed to do because they send me into the void, and I assume that that was supposed to be my turnaround thing, to be like, look, you don't go into the void, therefore if this thing is taking you into these dangerous things, it's not friendly, you don't want to be out there. But I don't know that. As an experienced player of Subnautica, to me, I've seen a lot of things get put into the void as a progression thing. I've seen a lot of people go, hey, I threw in new biomes in the, in the void. I've, made a new thing which only works in the void or whatever. We have the silence mod, which adds the silence Leviathan. The void is a very popular place to put things because people are just weirdly fascinated by that area. So having experienced all these other mods that do this, and the fact that the Red Plague said that they added new biomes and new things to the game, I sort of was under the impression that, hey, yeah, some stuff got added to the void. And I'm in general okay if that's what you want to do with that, but I don't know if that's the intention. If you want to trick players by setting them into the void when they don't need to go into the void or something like that, fine by me, honestly. I think that's a fun little thing to get people to go out there when they shouldn't. But I think that there should be a thing that tells you, hey, you don't need to be out here as whatever. So, I guess, like, for example, like, let's say I get out into the void, I followed the plague cat, and then, like, I get out in the void, I'm following it, and I watch him just, like, suddenly speed up and go away. The only times I lost the plague cat were because the plague cat just broke my line of sight and disappeared. And it wasn't like it did that. I was being attacked by ghost leviathans for that. And so I thought that was a thing that I was doing wrong. Not that I wasn't supposed to be doing that or whatever. So I guess my overall feedback of this is I like what you have in mind. I think there needs to be some adjustment on it with the like the types of things that you interact with, and the quest progression. I think the plague altar, if that's what you're going to use to craft all the unique things like the grappler, which I've had all the materials for a very long time, all of this stuff, if that is going to be found in the altar should be given to you early on. And not given to you, but, you know, found early on. We have that big floating island you had me go up to. That would have been a pretty good time to go up there and find something like the plague altar. Whether or not it is the plague altar is a different story, but that would have been a great time to do that, is when you get up there, because everything, this administrator fabricator gives you the tablet, you can make the knife. That is when you should have found that, in my opinion. So anyway, just some food for thought, I guess. Now, what I do want to do is, Gilbert seems like an aquarium thing, and I'm not super interested in that right this second. I am interested in it, though. What I am mostly interested in, though, is this neutralized flesh ingot and conscious neural matter. I should be able to make this stuff no problem. I might even have an extra battery laying around somewhere. Probably not. But we're going to make the conscious neural matter. Which, this is cool, by the way. I like that you have this whole thing. It is basically a modification station that has been, you know, adjusted or whatever. This is neat. I really like this. So, conscious neural matter, cool. We know how to make that now. Which now leads me to believe I can make neutralized flesh ingot. We're gonna make the plague armor. Beak with plague altar. Oh, I never noticed that's how you craft that. So how do I, this goes on over the reinforced dive suit. Okay. So we've got bone regurgitator, plague grappler, which I had all the things for, but now I don't. And then we have prawn suit obsidian blade arm, which seems really cool. Capable of piercing plague matter and shattering large deposits. This is probably going to be really good for the plague cave that they're sending me to. Probably. I've got to go farm resources, honestly. There's just too much stuff I need. I need gold and silver, so like my quartz is fine, lead is fine, but this was full of silver, gold, and copper, all basically gone. Diamond and lithium, all gone. You know, this is actually doing pretty well for itself. This locker is a mess, but doing okay. And then my titanium locker here is empty, and this one's whatever. So I've got farming I need to do, and I need to go get / make more of the stuff for the upgrades. So when I come back, I'm gonna have everything. I'm gonna have all the upgrades for the plague stuff that I can possibly have, and we'll continue from there. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Take care, and bye-bye.